What's up, everybody? This is the Sports League Podcast. Back for another week. I'm your host, Alex Leak. We got the co-host, Amanda. Amanda, great to have you back on. Another great week, and I can't wait to talk about the football from this weekend. It was
Oh my gosh.
awesome.
It was wild. I took some screenshots of some of the listing out of penalties in some of the games. We had like six penalties on some plays. Like it was fun. It was scrappy and just a wild ride this weekend.
Yeah, a lot of fun, John. I know you enjoyed it, except for the Falcons. Me and you, my Bears broke my heart. Your Falcons struggled. We got to bounce back next week.
We automatically win. We got a bye week, so we're not worried about the fact we need
There
everything
you
this
go.
bye week. I talked to me and Maria. I do my little 11 Alive show. Man,
hmm
it was tough to watch, man. I didn't try to beat them up, but I had to be real about the defense not showing up. Like the defense just really, not saying the offense showed up either, but it was just like a team just looked bad out there, bro. They just looked bad. I can't even. I'm trying to I try to soften it up, but it was a terrible game, man.
Well, were you impressed with Sean Payton's offense and what the rookie Bo Nix? I mean, the Broncos, they're playing pretty good football, and I don't think a lot of us expected them to be that good this year.
I was very impressed, and but the disappointment for me came with how the defensive played and how Atlanta adjusted to Bo Nix. I think many people felt like Bo Nix was going to be a good quarterback sooner or later,
Yeah.
and my big take back was our linebackers suck. And when I say that, if you see like the short drop passes they were getting and they were taking them to the house, I think one play that showed the whole thing of the game was you hear your head coach at the end of the game said they played hard and they played more physical. I think Amanda knows. I think you, Alex, know. I think we all know when your coach says another team plays physical and they play hard, they're pretty much saying you didn't play physical, you didn't play hard, and you got
Yeah.
out physical. You just got out man. You pretty much wasn't ready to play. But I can say Bo Nix could have been almost any quarterback in that regime. If you watch the game, anybody could have nicked and knacked like he did. Like it was a couple times he got pressured, he got a sack. I mean, Judon got a sack, and that was something that they wanted to see from him. But all in all, man, it was tough to watch. It was just tough to watch because they didn't do anything. Like on offense, Bijan looked good in the first quarter, and it's crazy because the weak point of the team has been the kicker, but he
hmm
actually was only scored on all, and they were saying like you don't score on offense and your kicker is the only person that can provide points is not a great game. And now if it was a good defensive game and we would have seen a game 15-12, 15-6, and they couldn't score, but that one play when when the running back hit the safety, and that
hmm
just showed you everything it was about how physical the game was compared to, and what kind of mentality the one team had compared to the other one. You got stopped at like the 5 yard line. You see a whole slew of orange just come and get behind
Yeah.
him, and you just see that just showed you the leverage. That showed you the whole mentality of the whole game. And when Raheem Morris said it at the end, I was just like, well, at least he know what he's talking about. But you definitely gonna have to sit down with Jimmy Lake and have a talk. You need to talk to some of your vet guys. You need to talk to some of your guys. And what I said in week one and after week two was Zach Robinson. You got to figure out what you want Bijan to be. And I told y'all from day one, I want to be Bijan just to be a running back. I don't need you
Yeah.
doing this. I don't want you all these catches, and I don't want you lining up out here. I want you to be comfortable in this, and then we can work from that. I think with Judon, they got to take Judon and put him as just strictly a pass rusher. Like all this dropping and trying to get him to be a linebacker, et cetera, et cetera. Give him 70% of the time, 80% of the time coming off the edge, and maybe you can find some pressure. But if you're going to sit there and drop him and just want to see him do these hustle plays as he's been known to do, that's fine. It's cute. But I mean, at the end of the day, you ain't getting no pressure.
I think
Yeah.
coming into the bye week on a two-game losing streak, I think the bye week's coming at a perfect time. You guys are just fighting so many issues with injuries right now. I mean, losing Kevin King in the game to a concussion, down three defensive backs going into the game. I mean, I wouldn't expect them to have their best performance of the season anyway, going into a bye week with injuries. But it was just kind of like one of those Murphy's Laws game. Like everything that you ran into that could go wrong went wrong. I mean, the overturned fourth down conversion for the Broncos. They were only sending 4 fewer pass rushers on all of Bo Nix's first half dropbacks. I mean, he was only pressured 3 times in the first half. He went 17 for 19, 193 yards in the first half of the game. Like, I know Bo Nix is talented, but I just think the issues with injuries and I mean they were just kind of passive in the first half of that game, kind of set Atlanta back. But the bye week is coming at a great time. And my
Yeah.
question about this game is we haven't really talked about Bo Nix being in the conversation for Rookie of the Year. Do you guys think this game and his recent performances put him in the conversation? Because I haven't heard anyone talking about that. Everyone's still hung up on Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
I think Jaden Daniels should still get it, but Bo Nix, if they went out, you're gonna have to because I think I said maybe a week ago or maybe 2 weeks ago is Jaden losing a little because I'm saying like he played a whole.
He's losing some spice.
Yes, the college season goes, 10, 11, 12 games. Right now, they're going into like the 12th week of the season, and you can kind of see the 3 preseason games. He's been playing off energy. McLaren's been playing lights out. He's showing that he's one of the best receivers in the league. But now you're seeing kind of, it's kind of drift down. Kind of the umph is taken away from Washington. You still think they're a good team, but I just think that they're a lot of the hype is coming down, and they're becoming the Commanders again, I guess you can say.
Well, something I've noticed in these games. I mean, you mentioned like Bijan and like figuring out what his role is and keeping him in his role. Did you notice the same thing with Marvin Mims in this game for the Broncos?
Yeah.
So he's a receiver. They had him as a running back in the game. Like he served the role of a running back, and that's all he did. I mean, he had 8 touches in the first 9 games, so they weren't utilizing him much as a receiver. But the past couple weeks, he's been just lining up as a running back, and I'm wondering what the issue is. I mean, he had 4 receptions, 3 carries, but I don't know why they haven't identified his role. And it seems like both of these teams have a bit of like an identity crisis about who their players are and where they should be playing. But at least they'll have a bye week to kind of like stabilize things a little bit.
It's like all that versatility can kind of make you like not sure who you are. But credit to the Broncos, credit to Sean Payton. I mean, Bo Nix was supposed to be the worst quarterback of the top 5, top 6.
He was we'll see how he's doing in 3 years quarterback. So I absolutely have to keep my words on that because I did not see him coming in and playing well. But shout out to the coaching staff in Denver. They have really figured out how to activate some of that untapped talent and to get him focused.
100%. And John, I mean, every team goes through ups and downs. I think that's where the Falcons are at right now, a 2-game losing streak. And like Amanda said, the bye is coming at the perfect time. And what this has done, though, is it's closed the gap a little bit in the NFC South. It looked like Atlanta was running away with it. Now Tampa was only a game and a half back. The Saints are only 2 games back and playing better football. And we'll really know a lot about the Falcons. John, me and you were texting about this, how they're going to look after the bye. They got the Chargers coming up and the Vikings. That's going to be 2 big tests. Chargers at home and then at Minnesota. I'm sure you're going to be watching those games closely to see how they look. Can they make some adjustments at the bye, get healthier, right?
Yeah, they definitely got to beat the Chargers. But the Chargers are a team that, if you're seeing how the quarterback and receiver seem to be on the same page now, especially going down the field, I have a lot of respect and I have a lot of admiration for our safeties and our cornerbacks. But like Amanda said, they have a lot of injuries in the back. And like I said, I don't believe the linebackers, if they watch this Bo Nix game, they're going to look at their quarterback and like, let's just get it out quick. And let's because we can keep the ball moving on 3rd down because the linebackers for the Falcons, and I'm not trying to knock these guys. These guys are hardworking guys. Lamb is a hardworking guy. Ellis is a hardworking guy. But they just don't look natural. Like I see them sitting back too much. And if I'm a offensive coordinator, or if I'm even a head coach, like Harbaugh's going to see this. They're going to watch this tape and they're going to see like they can't get any pad rush. Let's just get the ball out quick and keep converting first downs and keep their offense off the field, which they did. I mean, the time of possession looked the same, but you got a time of possession when somebody's scoring and a time of possession when somebody's not scoring.
Yeah. So yeah, it'll be interesting. We're going to be keeping a close eye on those Falcons after the bye week. Amanda, let's talk about me.
Just real quick. I just noticed Denver
Yeah.
swept the NFC South. I didn't realize that till right now. They swept them.
Yeah.
They've got 6 wins. 4 of them are that division. They had their number this year, I guess.
Nice. Yeah, Denver. I mean, we'll see how the Broncos finish out the year, but they're looking pretty good. Maybe they can sneak into the playoffs. Tough division at 6-5, but a couple winnable games coming up, huh?
I said that division's always rough with Kansas City.
Yeah.
So they got to be so sick of having that team in their division, man.
Now let's go to me and Amanda had our hate week this week. Bears, Packers. It's always great. Well, it's not always great. And one thing that we got this week, despite how bad my Bears have been, was we got a great game. It came down to the wire. It was nail biting. It was a hard fought game. And Amanda, Murphy's Law, you talked about it. Murphy's Law is what the Bears are right now. The Bears can't do anything right. They can't hire a coach right. They can't hire a GM right. They can't put an O-line together, and they certainly can't block a field goal attempt.
So I will say switching to Thomas Brown as the offensive play caller seemed to really wake up Chicago. And I know they were going to show up in this game anyway because it's the division rivals. Like at this point, losing to Green Bay is just fucking embarrassing for them. It's been 2,165 days since they beat the Packers.
Don't remind me.
I mean, I know they were coming into this game anyway, and there's some controversy. Eberflus is trying to file a complaint and submit a video of them lining up saying that the player was on their long snapper. But if you go through the rules, and I went and screenshotted them. I don't know. I screenshot the NFL rules and I went through and I looked at it and I slowed it down. So they just have to give him 1 second after the ball leaves his hand to raise his head. If he doesn't raise his head, that's on him. They gave him 1 full second.
He probably kept it down on purpose.
Yeah. So I feel like they were trying to draw a penalty there, but I mean,
it could have been. But
said that they had watched. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying it could have been a penalty, but block the guy first and foremost.
Well, and they were holding him too. So if that had been a penalty, there would have been a holding against Chicago too. Like there was so much going on there. But if you watch his plays over like the first field goal in the game, he kicked very low. If any of the Packers defenders had put a hand up, they would have blocked that one too. And that
I was wondering too, because it was such a short kick. It was like 40. It wasn't that bad, but it was a pretty low coming out of his foot. John,
Rich Bisaccio said that they had noticed his low kick trajectory on game tape. They planned for attempted blocked field goals during the game.
They knew it was coming.
Yeah, and the week before, they were like, hey, he's been kicking pretty low. So they were coming in prepared for that, and he played true to form. Like, he's not a bad kicker, but he's been kicking pretty low and slow this season.
Well, he doesn't have a strong leg, so he has to kick, low to get more, out of it. And the Packers did say that. They said that they'll be surprised if they don't block a kick in this game, and they came through at the right situation. John, how does that happen? We've seen this now twice. The Chiefs did it to the Broncos. The Packers did it to my Bears. Game-winning blocked field goals. I don't remember seeing that often.
Well, let me go back for a second. Chicago really did win this game, and I'm not saying that to knock Amanda or anything like that. But if you look at
the Packers sucked in this game.
Yes, I've always thought they give some quarterbacks too much credit, and at the time I was thinking they gave Cable too much credit. But in this game, he showed on his feet the reason why he was a good quarterback, the reason why he could move. They were 9 for 16 on third down. Green Bay was 1 of 5. They were 3 of 3 on fourth down. That is crazy.
Sucked in this game.
Possession 36 minutes, and they lose this game. That shows a veteran team. That shows that Chicago is close, but they're just not there. Because I'm looking at the game and I'm watching, and Love still seems like he still hasn't got the click down yet. Not saying he's playing bad at all, but it just seems like he's not as fluent. Like, it seems like he should be a 300-yard quarterback every week.
Yeah.
It's like going 1 of 5 on third down just doesn't make any sense to me. And for a Green Bay, a good Green Bay defense to go 9 of 16 and still win a game is amazing to me. And the time possession. So I think Chicago, in my books, won this game. Green Bay got lucky because their kicker
Yeah.
going back to the kicker situation. And I think the whole league is crazy because I'm watching every game and I'm seeing so many kicks being missed this year. And this wasn't even the worst.
I did some
missed.
research. Do you want to hear the numbers on that?
Man,
I went back 5 years
because about this. Yeah.
So we were looking into this because I cannot remember this many missed field goals coming into a season. So I looked it up. There have been 99, actually no, 100 because there was one last night, missed field goals so far this season. Granted, we have a longer season now than previously, but at this point, last year, let's see, there was only 150 average over the past 4 years missed field goals for the entire season. We are well past where we would be. Like, so projected this season, there's going to be 20 to 25 more missed field goals this season than any of the past 4 years.
And probably more as the weather gets worse late in the year.
Kickers this year have been 2% more accurate on average at the 50-yard plus, but 5% worse on 49 and below.
Yeah.
So I'm not entirely sure what's going on. Maybe they're just focusing on the longer ones and they're focusing on strength and distance and not so much accuracy. But 5% worse on those shorter kicks this season. And in the last 5 minutes of the game, also 5% worse.
It's crazy, but as a Bears fan, you know, you can't do anything but like laugh at this point. It's like, this is just what we do. Like, bad teams find ways to lose even when you outplay the opponent. Good teams find a way to win even when you've been outplayed. And that's the difference between the Bears and the Packers. We've lost 11 straight. And to me, this organization is just a very unserious organization. Like, you say that the Packers are your biggest rival and that's your number one goal every year. You got to beat the Packers, And to lose 11 straight and invent ways to lose, it's very tiring. But Amanda, you did have a good point about Thomas Brown. He provided a spark, which I thought he would. And on top of that, Caleb Williams played a lot better too. He wasn't as indecisive. He wasn't second guessing
I was going to say, I wrote down decisive for Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
That was my note off the game. He seemed way more confident. I think the play calling style works better for him. He held the ball less. He was averaging 2.42 seconds, the lowest of his career so far. Quick short throws. Our defense didn't show up. Like Rashawn Gary and Quay Walker, were they even on the field? I was looking.
And Jair got hurt, right?
Well, Jair is the difference maker for our defense. If he's not on the field, you can tell the difference. Like that Detroit game, Jair being out and Jordan Love playing through an injury, like that beat us. This game, the rest of our defense just fucking no-showed, and it was embarrassing. But Chicago really showed up. And I think I know they're on a 4-game losing streak, but this was the best football they've played in a while. And I think Thomas Brown has really, really created an improvement with that offense and given a lot more confidence to Caleb Williams.
Well, he can do that for a week. You see that when a new guy comes in, he'll provide a spark for a week, but can he do it? Can he keep doing it? And we've got the Vikings and the Lions coming up back-to-back weeks. So, we'll see. Maybe an opportunity to get a win at home against the Vikings.
Just real quick to rub a little bit of salt in the wound. I know we didn't deserve to win, but 11 straight wins is the longest win streak against any team in NFL history. So,
I hate it. I'm so
just
mad.
Have to throw that out there. We didn't deserve it, but since you gave it to us, I'm gonna talk shit now.
But the Bears aren't. They're not trying to win these games. So
the Packers got lucky. Like they played half of a quarter.
Yeah, but they made it the play when it counted and got the win. They go to 7-3, big win for them. Let's go to last night's game. Monday Night Football, Texans Cowboys. Not a lot to talk about here, as we expected a blowout, but the game was actually pretty close, John. It was a 1-score game, and the Cowboys had a chance to kick a field goal. They made the long field goal, and then they get called back on a penalty. And they go down there and they go for it on 4th and 2 instead of kicking a field goal to make it a 1-score game and then a turnover on downs. Situationally, it doesn't make any sense, right? You always want to play the score game and the possession game and keep it make it a 1-score game.
Right now they're in Cabo. They're either in Cabo or Cancun.
Yeah.
Mentally, you can tell their season over. Even if you've been listening to Lamb talk, like I saw an interview with Lamb and it was just like excuses, and it's like y'all are NFL. Like he's trying to make it seem like everybody's against him. No, y'all the Dallas Cowboys. Y'all got the most winningest record ever. Y'all got one of the highest payrolls in the league right now. Even if y'all don't have Dak, there's other guys on the team that's supposed to be stars, and I'm not talking about him. I'm saying that y'all supposed to be stars, but y'all not showing up. Y'all showing that y'all are just a soft team, and it's just all around. And even with the decision making, you got to understand as a head coach, and you kind of know that you're on that line. It's kind of like that effort now. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care about what's going on. I don't care if we lose this game, but we're not going to go out not shooting. Like, you know, trying to be Detroit too late. You should have tried to be Detroit like the first game of the year. But now it's like your season's in the toilet. Watching this game was so pointless. I mean, Texas looks good, but they supposed to look good against Dallas. And I'm not trying to knock Dallas. I'm not trying to talk about them, but this team does not look good, like period blank. Even if you're just running plays, you're still a professional player. You still got to come out and play games. You can't blame Dak because y'all was losing when Dak was here. You can't blame CD because CD's still out there. You can't blame the running game because y'all went and got those guys in the backfield. So whatever y'all doing, it's got to be like, look, let's just try to look decent for the rest. I know we want Deion and we want his son to come and, you know, so we can maximize money back that I can get. I want to be a billionaire everywhere. You know, I understand all that, but like, just tell us that y'all tanking for the season and y'all waiting for next year, because that's all. I wish like sometimes in NFL when people are playing like this, they can just like forfeit the rest of their season so people can stay healthy. Yeah. Like, okay, we the rest of the game. You know, we don't got to do this. We know we're not going to be anything. We still gonna get paid and all that stuff, but we'll just go ahead and start for next year because you're gonna fuck. Somebody gonna get hurt or something.
I was gonna say risking the injuries when you've already given up on the season. But what you said about them trying to be Detroit, that's exactly how I felt. Like Mike McCarthy is suddenly trying to be Dan Campbell, super aggressive with decision calling. The fake punt and stuff on the first possession.
Horrible.
What was that? That was so bad. It was awful. Like John Mechie was like, no, like he immediately knew, like it was the worst fake punt attempt that I've ever seen. Like it was,
and he didn't even throw it past the line of scrimmage. Like
it was 5 yards short too. Like it was horrible. So awful play calling in this one. The full game was mismanaged, and when your team is racked with injuries, a mismanaged game is way more evident. Like you can tell. Like, I mean, the Packers, we snuck away with a win. There were some stupid play calls, and we sucked in the red zone in our game. This entire game sucked. Like they didn't have anything redeem them. And Brian Aubrey, he doesn't miss field goals. He has never missed at AT&T until that game. A 40-yarder. Like everything that went wrong for them was just, I think, lack of preparation, bad coaching. Like it was embarrassing. Turpin, though, the moment of light on that team. He is so fast. I think he deserves better than Dallas this season. I will take him in Green Bay. We will give him a nice new home. We can rehome him. But I mean, the Texans, I think this was a nice, easy win for them. I don't think it really showed us too much about them. But I will say it's their biggest margin of victory this season. They played both sides of the ball. We've had a lot of issues with them. Having a good week on the ground and then not using Mixon at all the next week. But this week they seem to have continued on using Mixon. I mean, 3 touchdowns for him. He's having a hell of a time. So I'm glad that they're keeping him out there. He's the best thing that they've added to that offense in this past year. So shout out to them for bringing him in. And Stroud was looking like the Stroud we expected this season because he's had a couple off games.
Joe Mixon going absolutely crazy, 3 touchdowns, and that just highlights the Cowboys. There were so many running backs out there to be had, and they didn't go after any of them. They signed Zeke Elliott and Dalvin Cook, and they wondered why they have no running game.
Maybe they just wanted running backs as old as their owner, I guess.
Joe Mixon was great. The owner's having a bad couple weeks. He's got the sunlight causing drops, and he's got sheets of metal falling off the roof.
Did you tell Abe what I said during the game?
I forget what you said. What did you say?
I kind of want a piece of metal to fall during the game and just injure someone, not kill someone, but just injure them so we can tear the stadium down. Like, let's just get rid of the Cowboys.
That's what I was like. Amanda's going crazy right now.
You know, man, it's like we don't want to watch y'all. Like y'all just forfeit this year.
Please. Your stadium's falling apart. Like that stadium is so expensive. Like, are you kidding me? Like that's just embarrassing.
That's just telling you something like, okay, like it's over.
Yeah.
Just call it. Your stadium called it quits already.
Best thing you can talk Tyson Jake fight. Like the best thing that went on in Dallas was that. That's it. That's all they can talk about.
There was this one penalty. It was 2nd and 9 in the game. It was three minutes left in the fourth quarter. There was one play, Joe Mixon for 5 yards, penalty on Tunsil, Overshown, 7 players, and they listed it out in the app, which is the funniest shit I've ever seen. Like, let's see if I can get it to. Like it's a list, man. They listed everyone unnecessary, 7 unnecessary roughness on one play. Like that game was a shit show.
They just like wipe it out, right?
Yeah,
they're just like,
oh, there was one on the other team offsetting. I'm like, no, that's
on.
not. Like, let's do math, okay? So 7 minus 1 is still 6. Like, it's not fully offsetting. That's bullshit.
Texans getting Nico Collins back. They were playing some bad football. They were on a 2-game losing streak, but sometimes, you know, you go through highs and lows in a season, and here comes the easy part where the Texans aren't playing their best football, but they should be able to go on like a 3-game winning streak here. They're 7-4, and they've got Titans, Jags next, so they could win both of those games, and then they got their bye week, and then the Dolphins coming into town. So, you know, an opportunity for the Texans, despite not playing their best football, to get back to 8-4, 9-4, and get this thing rolling again. And the Cowboys are just dead in the water. Let's move on from them. No one wants to talk about the Cowboys. John, Sunday Night Football was great. Bengals, Chargers, and Amanda, you've heard me say this before. The Chargers got out to a big lead, up 27-6, and they blew it so fast. Like the Bengals, 3 scores and the game is tied. And
I told you I wanted the game to just end already so I could watch a Christmas movie. Like that game was over. I was like, no, they just need to wrap this shit up. Like I was bored. That was a comeback, and I have not had faith in the Bengals this season at all.
Well, we know they're explosive on offense.
I was impressed. Yeah. They were back.
But the Chargers are charging, right? You expect them to blow the lead and lose that game, and they showed real character to stick in there and win it despite blowing that lead. John, were you impressed with that?
I was more impressed by Burrows.
Yeah.
I think, and don't take this the wrong way, I think he bitches a lot. Like we knew his hand was hurt, but like the whole pregame, they just showed him doing this, doing this. I think finally when he got into the game, we showed who Joe Burrow is. And you know, as much as I want to say that, because you know he's kind of a quiet mentality guy, but it was just pissing me off the whole pregame. They were just showing him doing his hand, showing him, and it's kind of like when he came out at the beginning of the game, he was throwing, and it was kind of like, oh shucks. But then he got like a couple good passes down. They got a good score by Chase, and then that's when he started coming up. Like, okay, I got to play through this injury. Now I got to play. You know, instead of being the whole game just like we can beat this team, it was just kind of like he was just chilling. Then he got a spark, and then that's when everything just turned around. So that's kind of how it was for me. I felt like the Chargers showed what kind of team they can be. But if the Burrows plays a whole game, because if you watch the beginning of the game, y'all just watch the beginning of the game again, you will see he was kind of like he was just
well,
you know,
these teams are opposite of each other because the Chargers have been playing the first half of the game and then falling off in the second half, and the Bengals are the opposite. Like it took the 2 missed field goals for LA to be back in this game.
Those were huge too.
Those
2
were like
full-quarter misses, and Evan McPherson is usually reliable as it gets.
Like they kind of lucked into a win the same way Green Bay did. Like they didn't really deserve this win, and I mean that sucks. Like because the Bengals woke up and started playing. Like that would have been the biggest comeback on the road in franchise history for them, and then comes down to a 1-score loss. And in the I think it was week 2 or 3, maybe it was in preseason. But they were asking Joe Burrow, like, what do you think this team can do? And he was all cocky. He's like, yeah, we only need 10 wins. We can comfortably make the playoffs with 10 wins. That's the most they can get this season. If they win out, 10 is their cap. Like, and he was so cocky about it, but just something isn't working for that team.
Well, they're notoriously slow starters, and this year especially 0-4.
Well, they got to
And
play
when you
the
start
Steelers twice
0-4,
still. Like, you're not winning.
yeah, you don't leave yourself much room for error. So I'm going to go ahead and take a bow. These Chargers are absolutely balling. This is my team. I'm riding with them. The smart franchise that actually hired Harbaugh, not my Bears. And Amanda loves Harbaugh too.
Yeah. I mean.
So Chargers, a big test coming up against the Ravens on Monday Night Football in Week 12. So another great test for them there. John, Amanda was really happy her Bills ending the Chiefs' undefeated run.
Called it. We both called it 2 weeks ago.
The Bills looked really good in that game. It gives me hope that they might be able to beat this team in the playoffs. They looked solid, especially that fourth down conversion late.
Well, you know what I text you, I said now it's Super Bowl. I'm just saying personally that the Chiefs needed this loss. This is going to be the last bad game. This is the last bad game you're going to see from Mahomes. You're going to see him locked in now. They got all this about trying to go undefeated and all that. Like, they should have lost this game. They got this loss. Now it's time for them to zone back into being a football team and showing what kind of they are. I think everybody on their team played well, and this game came down to the last part of the game, and that's how it was the whole season. They were just the first team to able to capitalize at the end and win the game. No one has destroyed this team. No one has literally took this team and make them look like, oh, Kansas City Chiefs are beatable. They just won this game. They kind of lost the game because when he gets back on his spark, it's close to playoff time. You got 7 games. I'm telling you, bro, it's going to be something special. I think this last little bit of football we're going to see this year is going to be Patrick Mahomes trying to push for the MVP or something.
I think
Josh
it's a good
Allen
thing.
was trying to. Josh Allen's trying to get that MVP too.
Yeah. Well, I think Patrick Mahomes has done less for his team this season than Josh Allen has. Like, Josh Allen put that team on his back. Like, he's been running like crazy. The way that man has been dodging tackles this season is amazing. But I think it's a good thing for the Chiefs that the undefeated season is over. Because, I mean, you look at the 07 Pats. Like, they infamously lost the Super Bowl, had a target on their backs the whole season with that perfect season. Like, I mean, everyone going into those games, when you're playing a team with a perfect record, everyone is showing up for those games.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter who you are. If you can be the team to take down the undefeated team, like, that would be fantastic. Like, you can have 2 wins and try to beat them. Like, so I think this is perfect. Like, now they can just focus on the three-peat. Doesn't matter if they take a couple losses here or there. The rest of their division is a bit back. Now they're just focused on the Super Bowl. And the other stuff doesn't really matter. But I mean, Allen definitely deserves a look for MVP. Like, this season, I mean, that 26-yard touchdown run on 4th and 2, beautiful. One of my favorite ones so far this season.
That's what's missing. They need to be able to make that play with the game on the line.
Weaving on the field. And he's tall too. Like, when he gets going, like when his O-line holds up, and they had issues with injuries on the O-line last season, but when his O-line shows up, like, that man can run and he'll truck somebody out of his way. So I absolutely love this game. I accidentally messed up my social media feeds. They think I'm a Bills fan now. I took a video yesterday. It was like Bills, random Bills, random Bills.
You are a Bills fan. What are you talking about?
It's bad. Like, there was one out of 16 reels. There was one Packers thing, 4 Bills things, and a couple other random ones. I'm like, oh, I guess I'm a Bills fan now. My Facebook doesn't know the difference.
You're the only one that's finally realizing it. We've all known that.
We've been in the closet for a little bit. It's fine.
But John, you're right. When you talk about the Chiefs getting better, they're about to get Isaiah Pacheco back next week. And I think that's going to be a huge boost for this team. Now you've got that 2-headed running back with him and Kareem Hunt. And it's the same thing with the Bills. They needed James Cook in this game too. And you take James Cook away from Josh Allen, that Bills team isn't the same. And so getting Pacheco back will be huge for the Chiefs. And then the Bills also, another reason I was so impressed with this win is the Bills did it without Keon Coleman and without Dalton Kincaid, 2 of their best offensive weapons. So this team, it was impressive to me, and I am rooting for this Bills team. I want to see them get over the hump in the playoffs. I mean, Amanda's favorite Super Bowl idea would be Bills Lions. Like, how cool would that be?
So good. That would be America's Super Bowl. Like
Yeah.
Detroit has wanted it for so long. They're finally playing well. Like everybody loves the comeback story of the Bills beating the Chiefs in the postseason and going to the Super Bowl. Like I think everyone would like that. Like the Chiefs are a good team. Obviously, if they get there, they deserve to be there. But I feel like that would be one of the best case scenarios for NFL fans as a whole. But
Yeah.
also a quick shout out to the defense for the Bills. Travis Kelce, we talked last week about how he's been heating back up. He's getting
Yep.
into his stride. He's, starting to look at his postseason Travis Kelce. 2 catches for 8 yards. That Bills
Mhm.
defense shut him down.
That was without Matt Milano too, right?
Mhm. The
So
Bills showed up to this game missing some huge players, some big key
Yeah.
names, and they handled business.
yeah, but
Amari Cooper too for the that addition. He really built that team just to the maturity and just having a secure receiver that can make good catches when they need it. So a big shout out to him. Now he looks like he's happy now because they showed that he's smiling a lot.
I was gonna say
Talk-
his post-game interviews, it seems like he's so happy there. And he has a
And-
lot of respect for Josh Allen. So
if he doesn't make those 2 big catches, I don't think they win. Like he only had 2 catches, but they were huge. And yeah, that's been a great midseason trade. How about Amanda, the Niners stunning the Seahawks? John, we didn't see this one coming. The Niners have been struggling a little bit, but they owned Seattle earlier in the year in Seattle. We didn't expect the Seahawks to come into San Francisco with Christian McCaffrey back and get this win. Is something wrong with the 49ers, John? What do you think?
I think me personally, just watching them this season, it wasn't a stunner for me. Like how this NFL is being played this year, there's no games that can't be won or lost. And it seems like the consistency of people getting to play with each other, these hurt people are coming back. But the only person that's came back that's been hurt was A.J. Brown. And when he was put back in Philly just started moving up. It seemed like every other team, the hurt people are coming back and they're just not consistent. Yeah, no, yes, because it's kind of like the chemistry is not like the flowing how it was before. It's like every time somebody comes back to San Francisco, it's like you move somebody else. I think the only person that's been consistent for them is Jennings, and Jennings played his ass off. So you can't say Jennings is really setting himself up for next year or for whatever other team he goes to next year. But I think for San Francisco, it's just we have hyped them up so much, and we feel like they're such a good team. They have such good players. We want them to be a good team, but if that chemistry is not going to be, I guess, played every week, it's hard to keep that. You having him and this stuff that we don't hear. Coaches are asking him probably every time he come off the field, how do you feel? Christian, how do you feel?
Yeah.
Good. Debo, how do you feel? How you feel? You good? You good? So all this stuff is going through your mind. So he's trying to play hard, but also he's trying to play like, I got like 10 more games to go because we want to make it to the Super Bowl again. So I don't want to give it like everything this game. So it's a lot of stuff that goes with coming back off injury that people don't understand that can actually slow you down more than help you out.
Yeah. And now they're 1-3 in divisional games this season. So making the postseason is going to be a big ask, especially with the NFC North being so scrappy. So yeah, I shout out to Seattle for knocking them off their horse a little bit. Hopefully Green Bay can beat San Francisco. Historically, not a good matchup for Green Bay. They are cursed when it comes to playing in Seattle.
Niners
the
got this
49ers.
one.
I know.
Niners got this.
I'm just saying, hopefully, because Green Bay needs that win. Like the 49ers will knock us out of the playoffs every year without fail. So hopefully Green Bay is ready to snap back after that loss in the postseason. But I mean, Juwan Jennings has been so good. I mean, you guys called him out already. Something about his personality on that field, when he makes a big play, like you see the team like rush over to him. Like he's the spark of life on the team. And this is the 3rd time in 4 divisional games that they've lost a 4th quarter lead. So they need to fix it. I know Nick Bosa was out, Kittle's out, but it shouldn't matter at this point. Like, look at how the Lions are playing with injured players. Like, Hutch is gone. Next man up, you have to do it at this point. Like, we're going into week 12. If you haven't sorted out next man up and you're not able to branch over some injuries, like, you don't deserve to be in the postseason.
I'm still a believer in the 49ers, and I'll tell you why. No one is running away with that division. The Cardinals are leading it at 6-4. That's just a game back, and then you got a three-way tie at 5-5. I still trust the 49ers. Who do you trust in that division? Cardinals, Rams, Seahawks? I still trust the 49ers, and they're going to be they were without Kittle. They're going to be getting Greenlaw back soon, which is a huge linebacker, a huge defensive guy, and Hufanga as well. So get them back healthy. I still think that, like John said, the chemistry is not right yet. If they can get that later in the year, going into the playoffs, I still think this team is a threat to even come out of the NFC. I really do. They're not playing it right now, and they need this win against Green Bay. They do need that.
They can't. I'm just worried they're not clutch. Like, there is nothing clutch about San Francisco this season. And Seattle's lost, five of the last 6 games. And they had a player, their center retired just very abruptly this week. The tackler was waived. So Seattle's a bit of a mess, but Geno was so clutch at the end of this game. 7 of 8 for 54 yards on the winning drive, 2 rushes for 29 yards, 13-yard touchdown. Geno stepped up. That's his 7th game-winning drive in the 4th quarter or overtime since the start of last season. He is by far the most clutch quarterback in the NFL over the past 2 seasons. And if Seattle can kind of roll with that and their defense can step up, they had no answer for Jennings. But if they can work on that secondary and kind of embody Geno Smith's personality, I could see them pulling a little bit further in the division, especially if the 49ers are dropping 4th quarter leads every week.
That's a fun division. It's so up in the air this year.
Cardinals too.
Man, that is not fun for players.
It's fun for us.
Every game counts. I said exactly for fans, but for players, they're in there man, they shitting bricks. They good Lord, why we gotta go? Why we got 16 or 17 to know if we're gonna being on that wild card type thing or on that bubble?
There was that year that Arizona had 10 wins. They were 10-6 and they missed the postseason because of that division. They just happened to be in the wrong division. That sucks. Just a quick shout out. I know the Giants had a bye week this week, but I don't want our listeners to have to go a week without hearing me talk shit about Daniel Jones. What?
Did they bench him?
They benched him for Tommy Cutlets. Tommy DeVito. So bye week, at least they're doing something in the bye week. But I saw this coming a mile away. I don't know how this man was a starter for 6 years. He's been mediocre at best. How did he get picked in the top 10? 0-star recruit at a high school, a walk-on at Duke, didn't impress me in college. I still don't. He's got some black magic or a voodoo doll or something, because there is no way this man deserves to be a starter.
Man, you have amazing perspectives sometimes, but this one right here is just you weren't spectacular on this. Everybody saw this coming. Everybody saw this coming. So I can't give you this one. I do be man, that was a good one. This one.
No. I'm not saying that I'm the only one who saw this.
So long. What took so long?
Exactly. How was he a starter for 6 years?
Why did they pay him? I can understand paying him on his rookie contract, but they gave this dude $40 million a year and let Saquon walk. The Giants deserve everything bad that's coming their way, and now they put in Tommy DeVito because he's a fan favorite. Because if he gets hurt, then they owe him $23 million, so they can't risk that.
Yeah. I think it's funny that people are talking about how the afternoon Thanksgiving name is prime nap time. We've got the worst quarterback matchup imaginable for Thanksgiving. Spend time with your family, take your post-dinner nap, you'll be good.
I'm gonna be watching that game with one eye open, shoveling more pie into my face.
That turkey tryptophan nap time. I'm gonna have to move dinner up to a lunchtime so we can just ignore the game. Because
the Bears are going to be destroying the Lions, so you don't really want to watch that either.
Well, that night game is when Green Bay plays, so that's more important.
There you go. John, I think we can put the burial on the Jets, right? The Jets, I think it's over, unfortunately. You can't even beat the Colts.
Yeah, they got rid of what his name is?
The GM, Joe Douglas, yeah.
Get rid of Joe Douglas. I can honestly say I was kind of proud of this game. I mean, I know it sounds bad. I still think Aaron Rodgers deserves another year. I still think people are taking it too hard on him because if he wouldn't have act like he was so healthy last year, we will be talking about he's still coming off an Achilles. People are acting like he's 40 years old and he's out there still trying to move. You can tell he's not moving like I seen him run the other like in the game, and I was like, oh, Aaron's running, and it was just surprising. Like even like seeing him avoid sacks, I see him just take sacks and everything, and I think he wouldn't have been such a manly man last year. And kind of just played it like, okay, I'm really hurt. I have a injury, like, but he was out here with his little Skechers on, throwing the ball and doing all this stuff.
So when he was running, I literally said, "Ooh, Grandpa's got wheels!" Like,
and it's not a walker.
I think if we give him another year with that team, and I know it's going to be hard to really see it being feasible for everybody to come back. I think they'll be better. Like this game, they should have won this game. Like it was a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, they should have won this game. You know, penalties and the defense showed up pretty well. You know, McDonald is playing well. He got like 8 sacks or something like that. So, and I saw the defense playing like they wanted to win this game. That's one thing that I can say that
they shut down the Colts running game. So
And so also one thing I talked about the Colts was the prior weeks of not having the other quarterback was simply because of him being able to run. They lost the game because of that. Like they couldn't stop. I mean, you've seen the reason why they needed that quarterback in the game, because if you take him out of the game, I don't think they lose that game. I literally don't, because at the end of the game, he just ran over DBs, just made him look so bad. Yeah. He was just like, and I talked about I like them third downs that they could have run the ball. So they had the option. Their option was we can just give it to our quarterback and let him run it. He just ran, like both times he ran them touchdowns was just like, I felt so the 35, like he was like just dead. He hit him. He probably there shaking like this, trying to fix his helmet and stuff. I was like, bro, you're right? You're supposed to go back to your side. He was looking like I was like that. So the Colts had to bite the bullet and put the man back in.
Yeah. I think something about this game, I don't think either team played very well, but I think both teams showed some progress. Like the Jets had a kicker who didn't miss a field goal. So good for them.
Carlson.
Yeah, Anders Carlson, another Green Bay cast off because of course. But that's their 4th kicker in 4 games. Like that sucks. Like they haven't been able to find stability at a couple different positions. And he had his career long 58-yarder. Like good for him. Breece Hall, despite the fact he's had a great career, this was his first game with a rushing and a receiving touchdown in the same game. So he's getting hot. He and Aaron Rodgers have good chemistry. The Jets defense was good at containing running backs, but not quarterbacks. So we're seeing, some high points, but definitely some areas to work on. And Richardson, I think, is showing a lot of progress since his return too. So I think both teams have a lot to work on, and I'm intrigued to see what they look like next year, because this season, we out.
The Colts are still in it.
No.
I hope they get there 1 week.
Yeah, he's going to play another year, just not with the Jets, I don't think.
We just want him in Minnesota. We just want the Brett Favre trajectory.
Or Chicago or somewhere, somewhere where he can
never go. He owns Chicago. He can't play for Chicago.
He can play for Chicago. He owns Chicago, so of course he can play for Chicago.
No, that's disgusting. Absolutely not. Minnesota's fine.
So the national media loves to shit on Aaron Rodgers. They love to hate him because of the things that he says, because he's a conspiracy theorist, an anti-vaxxer, all that stuff, right? But he's not to blame for this. Aaron Rodgers is the glue that's trying to hold this thing together. What ruined the Jets this year is ownership. The Jets, much like my Bears, need to sell the damn team because Woody Johnson can't stay out of his own way. He fired the head coach way too soon. And threw all the chemistry in the building off with that. And now he's trying to throw the GM under the bus, anything to deflect blame away from the owner, right? And so, there's a reason the Jets have been bad for so long. I mean, we talked about it all year last year, Amanda, why the Jets didn't go bring in someone like Flacco or a proven
We need a
veteran.
quarterback.
Yeah. So I don't blame the players at all. I think that's all management, and it's tough to win when, the dysfunction leaks from the top on down. So it's tough. Let's go Browns Saints. Amanda, we disagreed on this game, and this game was it was 14-all in the fourth quarter, and then the Saints pulled away, and your boy Marquez Valdes-Scantling sealed the deal, huh?
I talked too much shit about him last week, so of course he did. Like, I'm glad my pick worked out. By the way, I now have a 13-game lead.
Oh my goodness!
Just in case anyone wanted to keep track.
I know that's not cool, John. What is going on? I'm getting my ass kicked.
You got it. Don't ask me.
Make better picks, bro.
The comeback's still on. Don't worry. The comeback's coming.
Anyway, yeah, this matchup was interesting. We have, Jameis Winston against his old team. I don't really know what to say. Like, I think
Taysom Hill went crazy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think Taysom Hill was the highlight of this game. Like, we talk about how, like, it was Taysom time. I mean, you got the full Swiss Army knife experience here: blocker, receiver, quarterback, running back. But he scored 3 times.
Put him at linebacker.
Yeah, put him at linebacker. Like, but he's out here throwing picks. Like,
he returned a kick too. He returned a kick to like the 40.
I love him.
Threw a pick and got a fumble.
Green Bay loves him, and I have been pissed about it ever since. I adore him. He
needs to be calling some plays too.
So according to ESPN research, he's the first player with 3 rushing touchdowns, 50 receiving yards, and 1 pass completion in a game since the Chiefs' Ed Podolak in 71. Like,
I got his jersey hanging in my room. Yep.
He's wild, man. I love this shit.
Well, he's a guy that we can say came back from injury and came back and continued to help the team. But also Carr came back, and I think both of them coming back at the same time.
Yeah. Looking
a lot better. But definitely they saying, like, fuck it, we're gonna use Taysom for all he got. We're paying about $15 million a year. We might as well get some stuff out of him. But he's the kind of guy, if you're playing against the Browns, you want to do this. You want to get all the spark you can. The home game. You want to have the fans into it. The fans love this guy. And some stuff, like you saying, with ownership and management, those are things that you got to do and you got to perceive. Like, I still got to sell tickets.
Yeah.
Like they see in number 7. They talk to him. Hey, how are you feeling this week? We're going to use the hell out of you. Like, their percentage.
Just so you know.
I think Alvin Kamara played well too. I think the whole team looks better now. Not saying they look like they did in week 1 and 2, but I think they look like a legitimate team now. I don't know if it's going to be enough to make the playoffs, but they look like a team that's fighting now. They're like a team that's comfortable with each other. Like, sometimes the times off can help more than they're hurt, and I think it helped them more than it hurt. I just don't like Jameis Winston. Like, he's cool. I know he's gonna be a great commentator one day, but as a football player, just so iffy to me. Like, every time I watch him on the field, I'm scared, and he always he played a hell of a game. Don't get me wrong, but it's just like something about him. Like, you're a starting backup. Like, that's it. He's a starting backup.
He's squirmy or like squirrely. I don't know what the word is.
He's different for sure.
He's entertaining. He's funny. But, like, his movements on the field, like, I don't know. He just looks like restless leg syndrome. Like, that's what I think of. Like, he just, like, can't hold still. Like, he's just twitchy. And Dustin Hopkins missing a pair of field goals in this game too. So we had another kicker issue here. Yeah. But I do think the bye week is gonna do the Saints good here. Because, I mean, we had the 2 players come back. They had a good game. We're still, kind of recovering from firing head coach and Rizzi being called up after the 7-game losing streak. But I think the bye week will give Eric McCoy and Pete Werner time to kind of finish healing and come back. So I don't know who is going to win that division. But
I think Atlanta will find a way, but I think it might get interesting here down the stretch.
But they could make it interesting if they keep playing like they did this week. So,
John, Jameis
Winston, like, if they made a movie about the replacements again, he should be in that movie. Like, I promise, he seemed like somebody that, like, almost just like the quarterback was there. Like, we need a quarterback. You ready? He just come out.
Super goofy guy.
He just remind me of a replacement guy.
John, you remember Jameis at Florida State? He was the shit in college, though.
They
Yeah.
had a team too, though. I mean,
Yeah.
he wasn't the catalyst of that team, but that team was stacked, man. I think we don't give enough credit to these people to get Heisman sometimes. That the teams they have defenses that are crazy and they have
That team
offense.
was
Because you can win
nasty.
a Heisman, but also these sometimes you see these Heisman players come to the league and they're like not the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jalen Ramsey was on that team. That was a loaded Florida State team for sure. All right, let's go. Rams Patriots real quick. We don't have to spend much time on this one. Surprising. I mean, I took the Patriots. Amanda, you took the Rams. This is where I lost my games, is on these stupid ass picks.
Why did you take the Patriots? I still want to hear the reasoning on that. Like,
because I was not believing in the Rams. I had looked at the Rams the last couple games and was like not buying it. I thought the Rams were about done. And they looked a lot better in this game. Their D-line, Braden Fisk and Jared Verse are ballers. Cameron Kitchens is doing well. Their young guys on defense are really stepping up. And then getting Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua healthy. The Patriots have been playing better too. And this game was close. It was hard fought. But in hindsight, I should have gone Rams. Why did you go Rams? I mean, are you still believing in this team?
believing in them to beat the Patriots, yes. Believing in them to make it to the postseason, no. I just think they're the better team. I think they have more talent in offense. Stafford is more proven. I mean, look at this game: 295, 4 touchdowns, no turnovers. Drake May tried gunslinging it in this one, 309 yards, great, 2 touchdowns, 2 turnovers. So they played as I expected, both of them. I think the Patriots are a young team. Jerod Mayo needs to be a bit more aggressive. I think he kind of had the brakes on a little bit. Like, I think he needs to not be so defensive minded when he's coaching. Like, we know he's a defensive minded coach, but some of the calls in this game, like he wasn't letting his offense go. And I feel like he should have let them put out the burners a little bit. Because I think Drake May has a lot of upside potential. But I feel like he needs, like, this is a losing season. Let him go out there and see what he's got. Like, let him play, let him work on those deep balls and the chemistry. And it just felt like they were being held back a little bit by the play calling.
Yeah. How do you see this one, John?
Matthew Stafford did what he's supposed to do. I mean, being the kind of quarterback with 16 now, and I've seen some people saying how he's back and he can play as long as he wants to. I'm looking like, no, y'all, he's not the same Matt years ago. Like, don't get it twisted. You know, they won the Super Bowl, but I don't see him being a guy that you can depend on in the playoffs. I can't see him winning another championship unless something spectacular happens. They bring some guys in that, you know, Aaron Donald's not coming back. So it's just like certain things that I think that, and like Amanda said, this is a game he's supposed to win. Like, he's the more proven guy. Team is just better. It's the Patriots. It's nothing amazing. Like, people like, I saw the memes and then I was just like, they paid the Patriots. Like, for a touchdown, that's legitimately what we supposed to be. Like, you know, they are what they are. Like, you know, so I wasn't amazed by either team. It wasn't nothing that sticks out to me. It was football, and it was football I was supposed to play. The football played with 2 bad record teams. You know, 4 or 5 teams is a 3 or 7 team. If you just do your math, that team's supposed to be better. So that's pretty much what we saw.
They're 1 game back in the division behind Arizona.
Yeah. That's what I did was underweight the Rams. The Rams aren't bad. You know, they're 5-5 now, and they have the potential to beat a lot of teams with that, you know, especially those young guys on the defense, and then Puka and Cooper and Kyron.
I will be impressed if they win the next 3 games. Then I will start considering them a contender. They are home versus the Eagles next week. They go to the Saints the following week, and then the Bills come to town. Like, if you can win those 3, then I'll believe in you. I don't think you're going to win any of them.
Win those.
Yeah, well, that's my point. Is they beat a bad team, and then the week before that they lost to the Dolphins. Like, I'm not.
They might go 0-4.
I know. That's my point. I'm not impressed yet. Like, no. If they somehow show up and win 3 straight, like, then I will get on board, and then we'll stop talking shit about Matt Stafford. But I mean, we're on the downside of his career, and he got them a Super Bowl, and I think that's all we're going to get out of him.
Selfishly, I would like to see Aaron Rodgers get 1 year before he retires, like out of the Rams somewhere on a Super Bowl contender with a loaded defense and see if he can do it one last time. I think that'd be cool to see. And John, I mean, what if Aaron Rodgers went to the Jets and to replace Rodgers and Stafford went to the Jets and to replace Rodgers?
I would like that. I would actually like to see him in the end of his career playing in California, simply because if Aaron Rodgers goes to LA, I think it'll be a nice little fit for him. I think he'll feel comfortable there. I think it'll be something that, he can put in his memoirs of his, entitled career, because he had a great career. He's
I
four-time
like him on the
MVP.
49ers.
I don't know if I think they're going to sign Purdy to something ridiculous this year.
Well, I know.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen, but if I were to pick a team that would fit Aaron Rodgers' play style, like the 49ers and the Packers historically had very similar play styles, same coaching tree, I can see him being very comfortable in that offense.
Could have been drafted there.
I'm just thinking. I'm thinking in the scheme of wanting to play for a team and wanting to play at home, and just because not even about the media stuff. Just like my career is at the end, and the Rams are calling and they want me to come, and I'm like, sure, why not? I'll do that.
Yeah.
You kind of retired close to home.
Yeah. But he doesn't talk to his family, so does he really want to be close to home?
Hey, he's got friends out there.
I'm totally kidding. Bakhtiari's from out there, Do we even want to talk about the Raiders at Dolphins?
Raiders, Dolphins.
Let me see what I put down.
Tua looked better. Threw for 288 yards, 3 touchdowns, no turnovers. They won 34-19. Achane had a good game, 105 yards.
Jonnu Smith.
Yeah.
Balling.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I said I gotta give him.
He also had 100 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Having a great year. I think it's bad for the Raiders though when your best players is your tight end. Bowers is kicking ass.
He's an offensive weapon. He's not a tight end. He's an offensive weapon.
Yeah, I was gonna say they move him around.
But I can say honestly, you can see the difference between Tua and the other guys. Like Tua gets the ball out so quick now, and you can tell they're doing it because they don't want to get him hit. Like you don't really see any deep balls. You see them getting it out quick. You see them. I see him took a sack. It was pretty cool. Nothing crazy.
But he didn't make any tackles with his head this week, so
I know they had to go in that film room and like, dude, if you ever dumbest thing I've ever seen in life.
His mom was like, boy.
Exactly. The Dolphins did look like the Dolphins, though. I'm gonna give them credit, even though they was playing the Raiders. They did look like the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins, even their offensive line, played better. They didn't have to block long, so that was obviously good. And like you said, the whole everybody played well. Everybody played like, okay, we got him back. We ain't worrying about the concussion thing because he ain't gonna have time to get hit. So let's get it.
Yeah.
And over the past month, we've seen them improve week after week since he came back from IR. I mean, they got the Pats next week. So, I mean, he was even saying, like, all we need is a spark to light the fire, man. Like, we just got to get it going. And it seems like they're rolling now. So, luckily, their schedule is pretty smooth for them. So, we'll see if they do anything with it.
Thanksgiving night is going to be fun because they might have a 3-game winning streak coming into Lambeau. That could be a pretty hype matchup.
I hope
I got
it snows
winning that
2 feet. And they freeze to death. That's what I hope.
So yeah, let's not waste any more time on that. Brock Bowers a beast. Jonnu Smith did his thing.
6 straight loss.
6 straight loss for who? The Raiders? Yeah, they're mailing it in. They don't have a quarterback. When you go into the season and Gardner Minshew is your starting quarterback, just mail it in. Pack your bags.
If your starting quarterback is a backup, then yeah.
Vikings, Titans. I wasn't super impressed with this. 23-13. The Vikings haven't impressed me for like 3 weeks now. Amanda, are they starting to come back down to earth a little bit?
I feel like Sam Darnold needs his hand to be healed. Like he's had 6 turnovers the last 2 games that were his fault. Like He's just
Yeah.
still dealing with that injury with his throwing hand. Luckily, they've got receivers with ridiculous hands. Both Addison and Jefferson are great, but I they need him to be healthy if they want to compete in that division. And it seemed like this game was a little bit of a recovery for Darnold, but
Is this
I
just
don't
who
know.
Sam Darnold is though? Is he inconsistent? Is he not a full 17 game starter? That's what I'm starting to wonder. I know it's the hand injury, but like I don't trust Sam Darnold. I didn't going into the season. I don't now. What do you think,
I,
John?
I haven't beat anyone
Well,
good.
Yeah.
I think they haven't played anyone to really test them yet. I don't think they. I think they're playing the caliber of the team. Honestly, I feel like Will Levis finally showed like he's a quarterback. I mean, one interception is not bad, but 300 yards for him, I think, is immaculate. Just because the consistency. But I really think that the Titans team is way worse than they is, and I think the Vikings are way better than they played. So I think both teams played. One team played better than they usually do, and one team played worse
So
than they usually do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of those games that like, okay, we just trying to match up to the Vikings, and the Vikings were like, well, we just want to get by this game because it wasn't a game that you can see like anybody got like totally annihilated or somebody just played super great or anything. You're just looking for people to stay healthy and get on to the next game. You're playing a 2-17, you're 7-2. You're kind of like, let's just get past this game and see who's next.
Yeah, you think it's gonna be easy, yeah. But I mean, my issue is they haven't played good football in 3 weeks in a row now.
Right.
They
But
took the Jags lightly,
Well, they
but
get the Bears next week, so I don't know how good of football they need to be playing.
honestly, I think the Bears win that. I know that I'm gonna sit on here and talk tons of shit about my Bears and say they suck. I think they steal that one in Chicago.
Well, I was gonna say if they cannot beat the Bears, then I'm fully on board. Like playing
Yeah,
down to the level of the team you're playing, like their last two opponents that they played that were good, the Rams and the Lions, they lost by 10 points and 2 points.
yeah,
So I haven't been impressed by one of their wins since they shut down the Texans back in September.
yeah.
So I think the next couple weeks will really show what's going on there. But
And
I don't
I thought
know.
I thought Hawkinson was going to provide a spark to the offense, and he hasn't really. I mean, he's out there doing his thing, but it hasn't resulted in more points and better efficiency and all that.
Yeah, I kind of forget he's on that team sometimes.
What's that, John?
I said Justin Jefferson. I think gonna play well against Chicago. I don't have a lot of confidence in y'all DBs against him.
Dalen Johnson, shut him down. I want 0
I'm just-
catches.
Listen, I think you're going to see a good game from Justin because, like you said, they haven't played well. 6 catches for 81 yards is a good game and for any regular receiver, but he's not a regular guy, and I don't think he's had that game this year. And I think playing against y'all is totally different. Whenever I played against the Saints, like when I played for the Falcons, we played the Saints, it was a big game. When I was with the Jets, when we played the Dolphins, it was a big game. Or even when we played the Bills, the Patriots, they was beating us so bad, we just kind of that way. But for me, the big games are certain big games, and I think him coming into Chicago, I think he's going to show his ass.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like the Titans helped Minnesota win this. I mean, 13 penalties for 91 yards compared to 3 penalties. The Titans just played so sloppy and had so many bad penalties. I feel like they really helped Minnesota, and it was only a 10-point game. Like Minnesota should have won this by 27.
Ooh, one other thing I had to talk about. I think it was Jordan Addison got hit. He was catching the ball in the end zone, got hit shoulder to shoulder to knock the ball out, and they threw a flag and said unnecessary roughness and gave the Vikings first and goal. I don't understand why the hell they don't review these hits.
Well, what's funny
Why
is
the hell
there
not?
was a shoulder hit last night in last night's game
Yes.
too, and they didn't
Yeah.
throw a flag for it. They're like, no, that was a fair hit. Like he went for the
But-
shoulder.
There's no way in hell you can tell in live speed whether it's clean or not. You have to go look at it. And I hate that they don't review it. Amanda, the Lions eked out a hard-fought 52-6 over the Jags. Tough game.
The only thing I will talk about in this game, Jared Goff had a comeback. I know we hated on Goff for having 5 interceptions and still pulling off a win last week. This is Goff. He's very hot and cold. We expect him to have a perfect passer rating in this game. The week after a 5 interception game. That's the most Goff shit I've ever heard of. Like as soon as you start talking shit and doubting him, he's like, "Oh, you want 158.3? Okay, I got you." My issue with this Lions team, and we saw this last year with Sam Laporta getting injured in a week when he shouldn't have been on the field.
Yeah, good point.
Why are we waiting the 3 weeks that they've completely blown out teams? All of the starters, including Goff, have been in the game until they have a 38 or more point lead. 38 points. No team is coming back from that in the fourth quarter. Why are they waiting that long to pull out their starters? This team is playing too well and have way too much on the line to keep your starters in until you're up 40 points every week.
And they lose their best linebacker, Alex Anzalone, for like 4 to 6 weeks or 6 to 8 weeks.
Yep, in the fourth quarter. Forearm injury, he broke his arm. Yeah.
Did you think about stuff like that, John, as a player? Like, we're blowing this team out. Why am I out here?
Definitely. I got one game in particular that I always think about. It's going to be for the rest of my life. We already won the division, and we were playing Tampa Bay, the last game of the year. I ended up hurting my ankle, and really, I played in the playoffs, but I really missed the playoffs for us but it was just a mentality they wanted to have, and sometimes it works for you, sometimes it doesn't. I think you want to stick to his mentality of this is how we play. I don't think he want to take away from that, and I think if he takes his players out, it's going to take away from like we're not tough or we're not this. I think it's going to have to be one of the situations that either he gets comfortable with them not playing in the fourth quarter, or he's got to get used to it. Like if we know it scares us, but for him, it's like this is how I play. This is how I coach. I want my players to be. I don't want them to ever take a down off. I don't want them to think we winning by a lot that we can relax, because you don't know in what kind of game that somebody could come back. So I think for him, it's just trying to show that we're going to keep our gas on unless it's the last possible moment, and I can see it. Like if you watch college, if you watch high school, you see those kind of games that they keep their starters in because they want to pad the stats. And I don't think this is a pad the stat type thing. I think it's just a mentality and an attitude he wants his players to have, that we're going to play regardless. Like y'all going to have to play the whole game. We need if I want you to.
That's how he is in like everything. It's all or nothing.
Yeah, they're already down Derek Barnes. Jalen Reeves-Maybin is out. They're on IR. Like we know Hutch is down. Now we're missing Anzalone until the postseason. Like it's not
ideal.
It just frustrates me because I love this team and I love the talent on the team. We saw the same thing with Sam Laporta last season, though. Like you should have learned your lesson, and they don't learn lessons, which is fine. And I get that that's their mentality. I found them a linebacker, David Long, who was waived by Miami.
He's a good linebacker. Yeah,
he's available. He just cleared waivers last week, so he's available to sign. He started all 17 games last season, so they should bring him in.
That's my issue with Dan Campbell, though, is like that's his style. That's who he is. If he can win that way, more power to him. But me personally, I don't believe it's sustainable. Mm-hmm. Whether it's a turnover on down, something that's going to hurt your team, or whether it's Jared Goff with the interceptions, or keeping your players in too long, getting hurt, like Amanda mentioned last year when Sam Laporta. That was almost a season-ending injury, right before the playoffs. So you need to be careful, but that's not his MO. So we'll see if he can win a championship that way. They got a shot.
Real quick, because Alex's motto for the NFL is Goff is ass. Jared Goff is now the first quarterback in NFL history to have multiple games with a perfect passer rating and 400 yards in a game. He did it back in 2018 as well. So talk all your Goff shit, but just know he's the best.
I don't have an issue with Goff in September, October, even I'll give him a pass in November, but come December and January, Goff is ass. All right, let's get out of here on this note. The Ravens-Steelers. Pittsburgh, 5-game winning streak. A hard-fought win over the Ravens. How about that Steelers defense, John? Holding the Ravens to just 16 points. Pittsburgh looking nasty, and Russell Wilson still undefeated as their starter.
Yeah, I just feel like the mentality of the Pittsburgh Steelers is, it's all in now. I think they have literally, with bringing Russell in, the confidence when you can take a coach and the coach said that I'm making this decision and it works, that will fuel a whole team. like one decision, like even if you take somebody out sometime, but taking the Fields out when he was winning games and bringing Russ in and Russ proving him right.
Yeah.
So any kind of confidence or any kind of thing that motivation or anything you wanted before, he gave it to you. He was like, look, we feel like we can beat anybody. I'm at the point now, if y'all even thought that we were just an iffy team and you thought all these wins we were getting was because of Fields, or if you think this wins because, no, we're a good team. It's not just one. Even if Fields come back, he got that team thinking that they can beat anybody. He got them ready to make a push for the playoffs. And I'm talking about a deep push in the playoffs now just because of that mentality. And how Kansas City is playing now, like, we don't know. Like, Kansas City might come in, Pittsburgh come in looking like this. Like you don't know. Because you think about
they could be good.
Yeah. As much as I agree with that, I picked the Ravens here. I thought it would be close. You and Alex both picked the Steelers here. My issue with this game is the offense played like shit. They had 18 points, all from their kicker. This is one team that didn't have a kiss or miss a kick this week. They needed him. And no wide receiver other than George Pickens got open at all during the game. They were wrapped up. I mean, he had 8 catches on 12 targets for 89 yards. Everyone else combined for 2 catches on 4 targets. They can't get their wide receivers open. Russell Wilson had a rough week. I mean, the defense forced 3 turnovers. Justin Tucker missed 2 field goals. They should have lost this game. The Steelers' offense sucked so badly in this game.
Yes, but this is what I'll say to that. This is what Ravens-Steelers games are. You could be the best offense in football. You go into Steelers Ravens.
I want them to play well. They did not play well.
And the thing is, you get a different head coach over there, they lose because he was too impatient not to kick those field goals. He goes for it on 4th down, and you lose. And so Tomlin, we talk all the time about talent on the field, but coaching matters. And that Steelers coaching staff might be the best in the NFL. It's up there with the Chiefs.
Also, whatever hex they put on Justin Tucker's leg this week really helped him out because field goals for Justin Tucker is rare as hell.
He's really starting to struggle, though. This year especially. So we'll see. They held Derrick Henry in check for the most part. He was pissed when he fumbled early in the game. Justin Tucker, I mean, that cost the Ravens right there.
Oh, speaking of fumbles, we totally forgot to mention the play in last night's game where the Cowboys had 2 fumbles on the same play. They fumbled the ball, recovered it, and fumbled it again for a pick 6.
That sealed the game, too. Jalen Pitre with that hit. He knocked that O-lineman out with that hit. That was nice.
That needs to be like the Cowboys screensaver for the offseason. That was so bad. It was hilarious. Anyway.
Why was the O-lineman trying to run with it? Who does he think he is? The O-lineman thought he was a running back.
I don't know. It was wild though. But yeah, I want to root for the Steelers. And I do agree that Tomlin knows what he's doing. He really had the defense step up here, but the Ravens made a lot of uncharacteristic mistakes and mishaps and kicking. They should have lost this game. The Steelers should have. So they kind of got a little lucky here. I mean, I want to see that offense get going. I want to see those receivers get open because there are so many good receivers on that team. Like Russ with the deep ball, this 18 points should have not all come from a kicker in this game. There is way too much talent on that offense to win off of 6 field goals.
I'll take it though.
I mean, the Packers shouldn't have won the game against the Bears, and I'll take the win column.
Exactly.
But let's work on some of this other stuff in the week.
The difference is Steelers and Ravens are both contenders. The Bears aren't. So, all right, we got to get out of here. So let's do our picks for Thursday night. John, the 8-2 Steelers at the 2-8 Browns. I know you're going to be riding with Jameis Winston and the Cleveland Browns here, huh?
I'm gonna play against the odds and go with the Steelers, though. Go against the odds.
Amanda, you got your terrible towel ready?
My sister is a Steelers fan, and I will borrow hers. I would love to hear someone try to talk me into picking the Browns in this matchup. I would love it.
Well, you were begging me to pick the Cowboys last night. You kept saying there's time for you to pick the Dallas.
Well, who did I tell you to pick? I told you to take Seattle because you told me to take.
Yeah, but at this
somebody,
point,
and I
you're
was like,
just
yeah, you
playing
take
mind
Seattle.
games
You
with
would have
me.
won the
You're
pick
trying
if
to
you taken
dig
Seattle.
me in a bigger hole is all you're trying to do.
Yes,
All
correct.
right, so you're going Steelers?
Yeah, duh.
Let's go No, Pittsburgh Steelers. We're all going Steelers.
You're dumb, but you're not that dumb.
Oh my goodness.
You want to take them? You want to be like, I actually am that dumb. Hold up, Jameis Winston.
Do it.
All right. When the comeback happens in the picks, just wait. It's coming. All right. John, thanks for making time. A great episode as always. Can't wait for week 12. And hope your Falcons turn it around. Hope my Bears turn it around and hope the Packers lose. All right. See you guys. Have a great week and peace out.